Author's note. This video is my review of Willow. Written by Bob Dolman and George Lucas. Directed by Ron Howard. Published by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Lucasfilms, and Imagine Entertainment. Now owned by the Walt Disney Company. Starring Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer, Joanne Whalley, Patricia Hayes, Billy Barty, and Jean Marsh as Queen Bavmorda. Rated PG.
Elora Danan has chosen you to be her guardian.
Me?
Didn't expect me to review a cult classic of a movie, eh? Well, let's check this one out together. Though I wonder why George Lucas went with MGM over Fox in the first place. In 1988, Lucasfilm released Willow to theaters. While it didn't do well initially, it was considered a cult classic by many die-hard fans, which is good enough to get a sequel that's coming to Disney+. One day, Willow discovered a mysterious baby with a birthmark, one tied to a prophecy. It's up to the future sorcerer to protect this baby from the evil Queen Bavmorda.
Blackroot? I am the father of 2 children, and you never ever give a baby Blackroot.
This film was made long before a certain Peter Jackson made cinema history, so there was little to no use of CGI. That being said, it still had the spirit of adventure and magic that I've seen in various fantasy movies, animation, and video games. It was also a silly, funny romp that gets more ridiculous as the story goes on. Though if I had one complaint, some parts of the movie do feel real slow, especially at the beginning in Willow's village and when he first set out on his adventure. What I liked about the character Willow is that despite being mistreated by his fellow villagers and all that stress, trial, and error he had to go through, he still hangs in there throughout the entire film. We see him go from a simple farmer to the hero he never expected to be, with his responsibilities of protecting the baby from Bavmorda's forces. And personally, a hero isn't a person who thinks he is one, but one who gathers the courage to become one. Overall, that's what makes Willow a fine character.
I love you, Sorcia. I don't love her, she kicked me in the face.
The one character who stole the show for this film was Madmartigan, played by that Val Kilmer. The guy is a complete crazed nutcase with an over-the-top ego to boot, claiming to be some great warrior that ever lived. But the way he delivered his lines is like he was made to chew the scenery, and, believe it or not, he knows how to fight well with a sword, living up to that great warrior stance ironically, and even his dialogue with Sorcia just adds to it. And this is the guy who would later become Batman.
You're not warriors. Pigs!
It's too bad we don't get to see much of Queen Bavmorda. Like with Madmartigan, I enjoyed seeing her chew the scenery with her dedication to capture the baby and maintain her place as the most powerful sorceress in the world. That being said, every awful thing we've seen done in the movie is her doing, proving how much of a danger she is to every living creature. Not to mention she mistreats her own daughter. But the best part was seeing Bavmorda attempt to sacrifice the baby and the fight between her and Fin Raziel. Aren't villains a wonderful thing?
Not a woman! Gentlemen, not a woman!
I know that Willow will not be as grand of an adventure as The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, but as its own story, it stands out on its own. It's adventurous and yet silly, crazy, and funny despite its slowdowns. And overall, there's nothing truly wrong with having a fantasy adventure that's fun to laugh at, which is available to watch on Disney+. And there I go with a shameless plug of Disney+. Believe it or not, there was an NES game based off this movie, courtesy of Capcom. If you get a chance, be sure to check it out. And that's all I gotta say.